In this video, we will be talking about how to set up your community agreements for your circles. The whole purpose of having community agreements is to create a space that feels as safe and comfortable as possible to hear from one another and to speak in circle. And you can also think of it as, what are some ways that I would like to be treated by others? And what are some ways that I should be interacting and engaging with others in a way that helps to build up positive relationships? And it's best if you can come up with these agreements as a whole group. But what I'm going to show you right now is some examples of agreements that you might find helpful or you might want to incorporate into your circle. If you decide that you don't like any of these and you want to completely come up with your own, then that's totally fine too. The most important thing is that everybody has a say in it. And so it would be best if both the adults and the students all get to have a say as to what agreements you want to incorporate into your circle. And it's also really important that no matter what you come up with, that everyone says, yes, we like all of these agreements and we are all agreeing to abide by them and to follow them as much as we can. So I'm going to walk you through what each of these mean. And then after that, I'll walk you through how do you get an idea of, how do you make sure that everyone is in agreement and saying that, yes, we will be to the best of our ability following these agreements. So number one, it says choose to be present. And this just means that everyone is committing to staying focused on other participants and what they have to share while they're speaking, and avoiding as much as possible being distracted or doing something else at the same time as someone else is talking. Number two is speak and listen with respect. And this just means that when we speak, or maybe if you're having the circle over the computer and you're using the chat feature, that we are only going to use respectful language and say things that come across as respectful to others. And similarly, when it's our turn to listen to someone else, we're going to fully listen and not be distracted by other things. Number three is assume goodwill. And this just means that we're going to give the benefit of the doubt to other people. And instead of thinking that someone else meant something negative, we're going to just invite ourselves to pause and consider that maybe we misunderstood somebody and assume that everyone is trying their best. Number four is what happens in the circle stays in the circle. And this just means that we won't be sharing personal stories outside of the circle. And the only exception is that if an adult in the circle hears that someone is hurting you or you are hurting yourself or others, then they will need to share that information with someone who can provide the proper support, because above all, your safety and well-being is the most important thing. And finally, number five is be patient with yourself and others. And I think this is pretty clear, but it is very important because sometimes it takes us a little while to get used to doing circles. And especially if you're doing these circles over the computer, I know sometimes technology kind of gets in the way and things don't always go as planned. So in those moments, especially, we're going to make sure that we are practicing our patience. And so these are some agreements that you might want to use. And one way that you can just check in as a whole group and make sure that whatever agreements you come up with, that everyone is okay with them, is inviting everyone to give some sort of visual signal that they're okay with it. So you can, whether you're in person or over a computer, just invite everyone to kind of give a little thumbs up. And likewise, students or even adults can give a thumbs down too if there's an agreement that they think, no, I don't really like that one, or I don't think that that works for me, or even, I don't really understand what that means. I need a little bit more explanation about that one before I say that I can follow that agreement. And so you can do that, like I said, if you're on the computer, through your video screen, or even in person. And if someone doesn't agree, maybe hold a little conversation about, well, what is it about it that you don't agree with? And is there some way we can reword it, or maybe come up with another agreement that makes everyone feel like, yes, okay, we're all okay with these agreements and we can try our best to follow them. So you're going to go ahead and right now stop the video and have a discussion around, what do we think about these agreements, and do we need to change them, and how does everyone feel about them? And for the teachers or the adults facilitating the group, if you have a moment at another time, you will find below in the video description a link to a survey. And we just want to get some feedback on whether or not this video was helpful and what you thought about it, and if you just thought it was a helpful tool. So go ahead and stop the video now and have your discussion about your agreements.